الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وآله وصحبه أما بعد. My dear brothers and sisters, my dear children, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today inshallah we'll continue our talk regarding Al-Isra wal Miraj, and then I will talk about the change of the Qibla as well, and we'll say a few hadith regarding the month of Sha'ban. We mentioned last week that the Prophet ﷺ traveled by night from Al-Masjid Al-Haram, the sacred mosque in Mecca, to Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, the farthest mosque in Jerusalem, by night, to the journey by night, accompanied by Jibreel alayhi salatu wassalam. We also mentioned that the Prophet ﷺ, on his way, he was commanded by Jibreel to go down and pray in three places. And the three places were Tayba, another name for Medina, and then Mount Sinai, where Allah spoke to Musa alayhi salatu wassalam, and then he entered Beit Lahm, where Isa was born, and then he entered Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. And we said that the word Al-Aqsa means there is a third mosque, Al-Qasi, which refers to the mosque in Medina. So the verse in Surah Al-Isra, chapter 17, first verse, gave good news to the Prophet ﷺ that there will be three mosques, Al-Masjid Al-Haram, Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, and Al-Masjid Al-Qasi in Medina. I'm going now back to the hadith by Al-Imam Muslim in Sahih Muslim. I'm going to start from the beginning and then continue where I stopped last week to talk about Al-Mi'raj and why Al-Mi'raj is so important to us as far as our religion is concerned. At the beginning of the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, the buraq, the vehicle which he used to travel, came or been brought in front of him, and he says it was a white animal, little bit long, above the size of a donkey and less than a mule, and he had his front hoofs in front of his face. So he embarked or mounted, and then he arrived Bayt al-Maqdis, and then I tied it to the ring where the prophets would do that, and then I entered the mosque. I prayed 2 rak'ah, then I came out. So Jibreel alayhi salam came to me with a container of alcohol or khamr or intoxicant or wine and a container of milk. So Muhammad alayhi salam chose the milk. So Jibreel said, اخترت الفطرة, you have chosen the good nature. This is the fitratullah allati fatara an-nasa alayha. This is the good nature which Allah created people with. So if I offer you 2 apples, one is a rotten apple with full of worms and another one is a good one, which one will you choose? Everybody will do that, unless there is something wrong with that. Yeah. And that's why we always say to people, if I offer you grape juice and I offer you a glass of wine, which one would you choose? They will choose the rotten one, the rotten grapes. Now we come now into the second phase of the journey. ثم عرج بنا إلى السماء. Then we start our ascension into heaven. Whatever we are going to read, we believe in it. People can question it, people can raise doubts about it, but we believe in this. It's a hadith sahih in Muslim, and there is a similar one in Bukhari, so we do not have to doubt it. I want you to imagine the distance from this planet all the way to the sun, and we said last week 150 million kilometers. Then beyond that, the journey continued until they reached the lowest heaven. And now we talk about structure, about a building. There is a protocol to enter and a protocol to leave. And the protocol was as follows. Jibreel asked for permission to enter. They asked him, who are you? He said, Jibreel. Who is with you? He said, Muhammad. They asked, has he received the message? Yes. Then they opened for us and we went through the first heaven. Prophet ﷺ says, I saw Adam He welcomed me and prayed for me. Then they went into the second heaven. The same protocol. Exactly the same. It shows you how not every, even Jibreel hasn't got the authority just to go up and come back without permission. So Prophet ﷺ saw in the second heaven Isa ibn Maryam wa Yahya ibn Zakaria alayhim as-salatu was-salam. So he went into the third, the same protocol. He saw Yusuf alayhi salatu was-salam, Joseph, and he said he was so handsome. He'd been given half the beauty. He welcomed me again and invoked Allah or supplicated Allah for me. In the fourth heaven, he found Idris. In the fifth one, he found Harun, the brother of Musa. Aaron, the brother of Moses. In the sixth one, he found Musa alayhi salatu wassalam. Then they arrived into the seventh heaven. He saw Ibrahim alayhi salatu wassalam resting to Al-Bayt Al-Ma'mur, the house which is much visited frequently. We know that this is similar or something similar to the Kaaba on earth. Prophet ﷺ confirms in this hadith that 70,000 angels enter it every day and they don't come back. So 70,000 different angels enter Al-Bayt Al-Ma'mur, the much frequented house. I think the battery. Or we should use the electric one actually. Then they reached a point beyond which Jibril alayhi salatu wasalam could not move any forward. ثم ذهب بي إلى السدرة المنتهى, the lot tree beyond which none may pass. And Prophet ﷺ explained the beauty of this tree and how it was shrouded in mystery unspeakable, as explained in Surah An-Najm, chapter 53, verses 14 to 16. He was in the presence of Almighty Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, light upon light. How can I see him? Light upon light. Anna arah, nurun ala nur, Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. So he received the revelation regarding the prayers, the daily prayers. In another narration, another source, there was a form of greeting, a protocol between the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. At-tahiyatu lillah. Greetings be to Allah. Allah responded, Assalamu alayka ayyuhan nabiy wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May God's peace, mercy and blessing be upon you, O Prophet. Prophet ﷺ responded, Assalamu alayna wa ala ibadillahi salihin. May peace be upon us and all the righteous servants of Allah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. I testify there is no God but the one true God. Muhammad is his servant and messenger. Alayhi salatu wassalam. Anyway, we go back to the most important part of the journey, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordained on the ummah of Muhammad 50 daily prayers. So فَفَرَضَ عَلَيَّ 50 صَلَاةٍ فِي كُلِّ يَوْمٍ وَلَيْلَةٍ, 50 prayers during the day and the night. Oh my goodness, I mean, we have 5 prayers, and unfortunately there are people who find it very difficult to maintain the 5 prayers. And we have people who don't pray at all, although it is 5 prayers only. Imagine if it was 50. So now there is a conversation which took place between Musa alayhi salatu wassalam, who was in the 6th heaven, and the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And to summarize it in a very simple way, Muhammad alayhi salatu wassalam went back, was going down now, going back, the same way he came up. And Musa asked him, what did Allah ordain on you? He said 50 prayers. He said, no, too much. Your people are much weaker. My people couldn't. Go back and ask at-takhfif, to lighten it, to make it less. So he went, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reduced it, and went back. So Musa asked the same question, Muhammad went back, and so on until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it 5 daily prayers, day and night. Every time the Prophet ﷺ used to say, Ya Rabbi khaffif ala ummati. oh please Allah, make it easier for my ummah. فحط عني خمسة. Every time 5 will be reduced, so you can work out how many times the Prophet ﷺ had to go backward and forward between Allah and Musa alayhi salatu wassalam. Then Allah at the end said, Ya Muhammad, O Muhammad, إنهن خمس صلوات كل يوم وليلة. There are 5 daily prayers, day and night. لكل صلاة 10. The reward will be 10 points for each salah. فذلك 50 صلاة. This is equivalent to 50 prayers. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reduced the physical number of prayers and increased the reward for all of us, alhamdulillah. Then the hadith continues, وَمَنْ هَمَّ بِحَسَنَةٍ فَلَمْ يَعْمَلْهَا كُتِبَتْ لَهُ حَسَنَةٌ. Anyone who intends, who has the intention of doing any good deed, anyone who intends to do any good deed and he doesn't do it, Allah records it as one good deed. If he does it, he will get 10 points. If anyone has the intention of doing an evil, of committing an evil, and he doesn't do it, it will be recorded as 1. It will not be recorded. It will 0. Okay? Remember this. In another hadith, actually, it will be written as hasana. If he doesn't do it, 1. But if he does it, it will be recorded as 1 evil deed. When Musa saw the Prophet ﷺ after prayers became 5 prayers a day, Musa said, go back. He said, no. قَدْ رَجَعْتُ إِلَى رَبِّي حَتَّى اسْتَحْيَيْتُ مِنْهُ. I've been going backward and forward. Now I feel very embarrassed, very shy to go back. Khalas, that's it, finished. So the question now, were there any prayers before that night? According to the group, there was no compulsory prayer apart from the night prayer, which was without limitation. And if we read, for example, in Surah Al-Muzammil, alayhi salatu wassalam, folded in garments, chapter 73, verse 1 to 4, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها المزمل قم الليل إلا قليلا نصفه أو انقص منه قليلا أو زد عليه ورتل القرآن ترتيلا. Or you have wrapped up in your garments, rise to pray the night, except a little, half of it, or listen it a little, or add to it, and recite the Quran as it ought to be recited. So Allah commanded the Prophet ﷺ to stand to prayer by night, but not all night, half of it, or a little less, or a little more. So that was a command which came to the Prophet ﷺ early, very early, before Al-Isra wal-Miraj. Ibn Hajar said prayers became compulsory on the night of Al-Isra, and they were rak'atayn. In other words, al-subh 2 rak'ah, al-dhuhr 2 rak'ah, al-asr 2 rak'ah, al-maghrib 3, and al-isha 2. And when the Prophet ﷺ immigrated to Medina, they increased in number. This is as being reported by Ibn Khuzaymah, Ibn Hibban, Al-Bayhaqi, and عن مسروق عن عائشة قالت, Aisha said, الصلاة was ordained while you are settled or while you are traveling to be 2 rak'ah, 2 rak'ah. When the Prophet ﷺ came to Medina, the number of rak'ah increased as they are now, but Salatul Fajr, the Fajr prayer, was left as it is because the length of the recitation, and Salatul Maghrib remained 3 because it is Witr and Nahar. Witr is the odd number, 3 to designate or to signal the end of the prayers of the day. So the Witr and Nahar was Al-Maghrib, and the Witr you do after you pray Al-Isha to conclude any night prayers you might have done. We know that before prayers we have to purify ourselves. We must make sure that our body, our clothes, the place we pray on, they all should be pure and clean. Prophet ﷺ undergone, according again to the authentic hadith, there was like an operation for cleansing. The hadith says that his heart was open, or his chest was opened, and everything being cleaned, etc., etc. So in the same way, because he had to be prepared for such a journey and also to be in the presence of the Almighty subhanahu wa ta'ala. As in some hadith in Bukhari, Al-Jabbar is the attribute of Allah used all the time. Al-Jabbar, Al-Jabbar. So, when we pray, we must remember it is our daily Miraj. So you are in fact in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala 5 times a day. And you travel on a spiritual journey. Your soul must feel the presence of Almighty subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is beautiful. If you really try to concentrate on your prayers, not only you, I'm talking about myself as well. If we all concentrate on our prayers and appreciate the journey we are taking all the way to penetrate through heavens with all the protocols which we mentioned earlier, to be in the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As-salah, if you are ill, if you are dying, if you are fighting on a battlefield, if you are traveling, you must perform your prayers. If you are poor, you don't pay your zakah. If you are unhealthy, you don't fast. If you can't afford to go for Hajj, you don't go for Hajj. So the only rukn in Islam which you have no excuse not to perform it is salah. You have the right to combine, you have the right to shorten, no excuse. Even in bed, if you are so ill, you can just pray with your eyes, with your head nodding or closing the eyes if you can't move. So no excuse. If you don't know the Qibla, you make an effort to find out the direction. If you are on a camel or on a boat, no excuse at all. Imagine you are fighting in a battlefield. وَقَدْ كَانُوا يُدْعَوْنَ إِلَى السُّجُودِ وَهُمْ آمِنُونَ. They used to be called to pray, to prostrate when they are in a state of peace. But they rejected and they missed the opportunity. So do not miss your prayers, please. Some of the verses in the Quran regarding the invocations of the prophets, the different prophets regarding the salah. Let me mention some of them. Brother Salim is standing there and he keeps pointing at me saying, Dr. Fahim, please ask them to move forward. Please move forward. Together, everybody, quickly. Thank you. Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, the father of the prophets. Ibrahim who built the Kaaba. Ibrahim who was thrown into the fire. Ibrahim was tested to kill his own son by his own hands. Says, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم رب اجعلني مقيم الصلاة ومن ذريتي ربنا وتقبل دعاء. Can you imagine? Please Allah, help me. Enable me, empower me to maintain regular prayers. Not only me, but all my dhurriya, offsprings. ربنا وتقبل دعاء. Please Allah, accept my invocation. Can you imagine? Ibrahim is praying to Allah to help him to continuously pray, not to miss his prayers, to wake up every Fajr to pray. In the same way, you would wake up very early in the morning to catch a plane from Stansted Airport, which departs at 6 o'clock in the morning. I have to be there at 4 o'clock. Ibrahim used to set his alarm every day on his mobile and wake up every morning to pray his Fajr. No excuse, no excuse. A non-Muslim said to me, what an unhealthy habit. You disturb your sleep. I said, you don't know how much enjoyment we get out of this. How much blessings. Inna Qur'an al-Fajr kana mashhuda. Surely the prayers of dawn are really witnessed, or is witnessed by so many angels. Musa alayhi salatu wassalam said, no, it's not, it's Allah said it to Musa, sorry. Chapter 20, Taha, verse 14. إنني أنا الله لا إله إلا أنا فاعبدني وأقم الصلاة لذكري. Oh Moses, I am Allah, there is no God but me. So worship me. وأقم الصلاة لذكري. Establish regular prayers to remember my name. Ismail alayhi salatu wassalam. Surah Maryam 19, verse 55. وكان يأمر أهله بالصلاة والزكاة وكان عند ربه مرضيا. He used to command his family to pray and to pay zakah, and his Lord was pleased with him. Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam had the command from Allah, وَأْمُرْ أَهْلَكَ بِالصَّلَاةِ وَاصْطَبِرْ عَلَيْهَا. Again, chapter 20, Taha, verse 132. Command your family to pray and be patient. Be patient with them. And وَاصْطَبِرْ عَلَيْهَا means do it all the time, not only once. Say, ask your wife, have you prayed? Ask your children, have you prayed? Come and pray. The wife will ask the husband. There are many wives who are very righteous and pious. Many. They know Islam more than their husband. And they have the responsibility to teach the husband, teach the children. As the wives of the Prophet ﷺ taught all of us, وَاذْكُرْنَا مَا يُتْلَى فِي بُيُوتِكُنْ, and rehearse what you have heard in your house from wisdom and the Quran. So there is no harm to learn from your wife or your daughter or your children. Inshallah, maybe one khutbah, one jama'ah, inshallah, one Friday, we'll talk about the excellence of prayers. Or maybe my dear son Mahmoud is back from Egypt, welcome back. Where is Mahmoud? I've just seen him a minute ago. Oh yeah, there he is. So maybe inshallah he will organize a nice talk about the excellence and the importance of salah, inshallah. Sorry Mahmoud, what's it? Yeah, but you need to do it more often. وذكر فإن الذكرى تنفع المؤمنين. Now I'm going to mention now a few verses regarding the change of the Qibla. Right. When the Prophet ﷺ came back from his journey, which direction did he face? Jerusalem. But he had a special way of facing Jerusalem. Can you remind me? He used to pray looking at the Kaaba, and the black stone will be on his right, and the Rukn Yamani, the Yamani side, will be on the left. So we'll be facing both the Kaaba and Jerusalem, because this is the direction of the north. When he went to Medina, and after a year and a bit, I think it's a year and I'll give you the exact time in a minute. He was commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to turn his face towards Mecca. And that was a momentous change. So let's read some verses regarding this and try to understand the comments. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. I'm reading from verse 142 chapter 2. سيقول السفهاء من الناس ما ولاهم عن قبلتهم التي كانوا عليها. The fools among the people will say, what has turned them from the qibla to which they were used? السفهاء, safih, fool. The hypocrites, those who blasphemed from the people of the book, the idol worshippers, and so on. Say, لله المشرق والمغرب. قل لله المشرق والمغرب. يهدي من يشاء إلى صراط مستقيم. To Allah belong both east and west. He guides whom He will to a way that is straight. وكذلك جعلناكم أمة وسطا لتكونوا شهداء على الناس ويكون الرسول عليكم شهيدا. We made you into an ummah justly balanced, so you act as witnesses on the people or over the people or the nations, and the Prophet will act as a witness against you. وما جعلنا القبلة التي كنت عليها إلا لنعلم من يتبع الرسول ممن ينقلب على عقبيه. The reason, the main reason you had the Qibla, which you used to face earlier, is to put people to the test to see who is going to follow the Prophet and who is going to turn on his heels. And we appointed the Qibla to which you was used to only to test those who followed the messenger from those who would turn on their heels from the faith. So it was a test. A very similar test was applied by Talut, by Saul, when he was commanded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to lead an army to fight against Goliath in Surah Al-Baqarah as well. The test was, we are going to come near a river, we are going to cross a river, and that was the river of Jordan, or the Jordan River. Any of you who will drink from it will not continue the journey with me, unless those who will have a mere sip. فشربوا منه إلا قليلا. The majority of the army drank from it, so they were out. So the change of the Qibla was a form of test to those who had weak faith in their hearts. وإن كانت لكبيرة إلا على الذين هدى الله. Indeed, it was a change momentous, except to those guided by Allah. وما كان الله ليضيع إيمانكم إن الله بالناس لرؤوف رحيم. And never should or would Allah make your faith of no effect, for Allah is to all people most surely full of kindness, most merciful. Some people questioned what happened to those who died before the new Qibla was made. And the answer came, they were okay, they were all right. Because if they would have lived until this moment, they would have followed the Prophet ﷺ. وَمَا كَانَ اللَّهُ لِيُضِيعَ إِيمَانَكُمْ. No way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would make your prayers, your worship of no value, because He knows exactly what was in your heart. Let me mention some of the hadith. I want you to, when you go home today, please, to read verses 142 to 145, chapter 2. Please, make an effort. Make an effort. And read the footnotes. Read it in any language you like, as long as you are aware of the reasons for change of the Qibla. What Qibla did the Prophet ﷺ follow at the beginning? What Qibla we are following now? And as in authentic hadith, if you are in Al-Masjid Al-Haram, Ibn Abbas said, the whole Haram is Masjid. Mecca has boundaries for Al-Haram. Imagine if you are inside the mosque now, as it is now, as it stands now, your Qibla will be the house, the black cube there. If you are, for people who are outside, the Haram, the mosque will be the Qibla. For people outside, like us here, our direction will be the whole Haram, the whole area. Do you understand this?
Yes.
So if the mosque will be extended or expanded until it reaches, imagine, reaches all the boundaries of the Haram, this becomes the mosque. And that's why there are more than one opinion which claims that praying in any mosque in Mecca, you have exactly the same reward as if you are praying in Al-Masjid, because it's all Masjid. The whole Haram is Masjid. Imagine if you extend it, you still have the same reward. That's a form of mercy from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let me mention a few hadiths very quickly. In the two Sahih here, it says that the first Salah, Prophet prayed to Al-Kaaba was Salat Al-Asr. More than one scholar mentioned that the verse was revealed while the Prophet was praying in Masjid Bani Salama in Medina. This is known as Masjid Al-Qiblatayn. I'm sure if you have been to Medina and you went on sightseeing, you would have seen that mosque. And while they're praying, they had to turn after the second rak'ah. Can you imagine that everybody turned and faced Mecca? And many years ago they used to keep the two Qibla. Now they removed it. Now they have only the existing Qibla. But the mosque is known as Masjid Bani Salama, Masjid al-Qiblatayn. And according to this hadith, the people who lived around Quba, they didn't get the news until the dawn prayer in the second day, as Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu mentioned in the two Sahih. And according again here to Ibn Abbas, Prophet ﷺ used to pray towards Baytul Maqdis, and he used to pray with the two corners between his hands. The right side was the black stone, left side was the Rukn al-Yamani, while looking at the rock from Bayt al-Maqdis. And when he went to Medina, he couldn't do this, and he used to pray to Bayt al-Maqdis. He prayed in Medina for 16 and a half months. So the change of the Qibla came 16 and a half months after the Hijrah. And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commands us to do anything, we will do it. There's also another interesting hadith here regarding وَكَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا. We have made you into a middle, moderate nation. And the fact that we act as witnesses against the others. Nuh alayhi salatu wasalam will come on the day of judgment, and Allah will ask him, have you delivered your message? And Nuh will say, yes. Have you got any witnesses? He will ask his people, and his people will deny his people will deny it. They will say, no, you haven't delivered anything. So he will ask Muhammad and his ummah to act as witnesses. In another hadith, if every prophet will come on the day of judgment with 2 men or more, and he will be asked, have you delivered the message to your people? He says yes. The people deny the message, but he will say, let Muhammad and his ummah act as witnesses. So we will say yes, he delivered the message. And then they will be asked, how did you know? They will ask us, how did you know that he delivered the message? They say, Ja'ana Nabiyana, our prophet came to us and he told us that the messenger delivered the message. And that's the meaning of to be witness against those who deny faith. I'm going to stop here and mention a few things regarding the month of Sha'ban. Aisha radiallahu anha told us that the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam used to fast most of Sha'ban. Rawah al-Bukhari wa Muslim. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam used to fast most of Sha'ban. The only month he completed was Ramadan, and the month during which he fasted most of it was Sha'ban. Another hadith, Usama ibn Zayd asked the Prophet ﷺ, why do you fast most of the days of this month? Why? Prophet ﷺ said, ذَلِكَ شَهْرٌ يَغْفَلُ النَّاسُ عَنْ بَيْنَ رَجَبَ وَرَمَضَانَ. This is a month a lot of people are not aware of it, between Rajab and Ramadan. وَهُوَ شَهْرٌ تُرْفَعُ فِيهِ الْأَعْمَالِ إِلَى رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. It's the month during which the deeds will be presented to the Lord of the worlds. And I love that my deeds, Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam, I love that my deeds will be presented to Allah while I'm in a state of fasting. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And this is true. A lot of people have no clue about Sha'ban, unfortunately. There are 3 hadiths here. They are all sahih regarding the excellence of the 15th of Sha'ban. Laylatul Nusf min Sha'ban. This is hadith Hasan. شعب الإيمان للبيهقي إذا كان ليلة النصف من شعبان, when it is the night of the half of Sha'ban, the middle of Sha'ban, Allah will look at all His creation and He will forgive all the believers and He will give respite to those who do not believe, and He will leave the people who have bad feeling in their hearts like that until they clean their hearts. Another hadith. Again, this is in Sunan ibn Majah, this hadith Hasan. إن الله تعالى يطلع في ليلة نصف من شعبان فيغفر لجميع خلقه إلا لمشرك أو مشاحن. Sunan ibn Majah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the night of Nisf Sha'ban, He will forgive everybody except those who are fighting with each other and those who are not nice to each other. So if you live in a house where the parents are not talking to each other, or the parents are not talking to the children, or the children are not talking to the parents, or you are not talking to your neighbors, please try to mend the situation, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will include us in His mercy. We have few announcements to make, please. Just to remind you, please, of the conference on the 14th of January, inshallah. 14th of July, 14th of July. Please, the invitation is open to everybody, men and women. Please, try to support us and come to the conference, inshallah. There is also, as you know, the lecture this evening regarding diabetes